Yo guys, what is up? Max on our first Descendant video, and today we're doing a tier list for all of the different Descendants. Now, one of the most asked questions I get while playing this game is, what characters do I recommend? What do I think are good? Which one's my favorite? And so I kind of wanted to talk about that today. Obviously, this is a beta, so this is going to change when the full game launches. I'm assuming they're going to do some balance stuff, but as of right now, this is how I would rank the Descendants. Now, one caveat, I haven't played all of the Descendants this beta. I currently have around 120, 117 hours in the first Descendant, and across the betas and some closed testing, I've played all of the characters, but I haven't played all of them this beta, so some things have changed from last beta to this beta. I'm just going to give my opinions on how I think the classes stack up from my experience of playing the game, playing with the other characters, and seeing the damage that other people on playing these characters are doing. And yeah, guys, this is going to be a tier list. Hope you enjoy. It's my opinions. You're welcome to disagree. Let's get right into it. So we're starting off the tier list with Viessa. Now, I think Viessa is solid. She's who I picked as my first starting character, and she brings some decent things to the table. She's got crowd control, which is quite nice. She's got the ability to change her cryo damage into dots with one of her modules, which is really nice. She's got an ultimate module that she can only use on her ultimate version that sounds crazy, which will allow you to like auto cast your 4 ability on the Blizzard, which seems really crazy. I don't have ultimate Viessa. I'm not ranking ultimate characters, and her Blizzard ability is a 20% damage or defense down, which is quite nice for bossing. However, I just think right now the meta of this game is killing as fast as possible, and big AoE and killing enemies before they even spawn, and Viessa just isn't great at that. What she brings to a boss fight is just worse than what a lot of other characters bring to a boss fight, and so for that, I'm going to place her in C tier. Next up, we've got Bunny. Now, I think Bunny is an S tier character. She is one of the best mobbing characters in the game in terms of her speed, her AoE, the damage she outputs. She has got, I think, probably the best designed kit out of all the characters. Like, she just feels really, really good to play. And she can bring a lot to the table for bossing as well in terms of her ultimate. So she's kind of got it all. She's got some cool modules to upgrade her. And this is a character that is probably going to be my priority on launch, is to get Bunny as fast as possible, just so I can start mobbing and start farming for all of my other characters. Bunny's a great character to have invested into to farm materials and gold for your weapons, for your other characters, and so on and so forth. I just think she's really fantastic all around. Next up, we've got Freyna. Now, to be perfectly honest, I'm very biased towards Freyna. I love poison damage, and she was my favorite character last beta. She's still one of my favorite characters, but I do not think she's S tier. She was really good before, but in terms of like bossing damage, she's not the best choice. And in terms of mobbing, she's not the best choice, but her kit's really good. She's got good defense, good survivability. She's got a lot of AoE damage in her poison. Her poisons can stack. You can bring some utility by debuffing bosses for your team with her module to like reduce enemies' healing. And all in all, she's pretty good. I just don't think she's quite good enough to be S tier. I'm excited to like build more into her and invest more into her when the full game comes out, but I've been a little underwhelmed with some of the modules that I thought were going to be crazy, like the contagion poison spreading one just like wasn't all that great. So yeah, I'm gonna put Freyna in A tier. Next up, we've got Sharon. Now, Sharon is on paper very good. She's got the module to allow her to defense down enemies by like 50%, which is a lot of utility. And like getting her on bosses early seems really good. However, her kit's just been a little bit underwhelming to me. The one doesn't feel all that great. The ambush is awkward because it only gives you damage for 1 shot. The ultimate feels pretty useless against bosses because it just doesn't really target enough versus like in a big group, it targets a bunch. And I think she's just all right. I think she could be improved quite a bit by tweaking her kit. Maybe once I like fully spec into her, she'll turn into like a late game monster. But right now, I've just been a little bit underwhelmed by her, and I'd put her in C tier. On paper, her kit's gonna be really good for bossing, and I think like once we get the full game, her potential will be realized. But right now for the beta, just like her base kit doesn't feel all that great to me versus some of the other characters you put on their base kit, and everything feels really great immediately. Next up, we've got Valby. Now, Valby is the sleeper hit of this beta for me. I actually intentionally did not pick her up with my credits because she just looked kind of mid to me. And then I heard that she was really good, and so I went and farmed her parts, which was a bit tedious, but I finally got her, and she is currently, like, as this very moment, my favorite character to play in the first Descendant. She's just really good. She is the best defense character in the game. She brings a lot to the table that Bunny starts to lack. The thing that Bunny can, like, blast all of the, like, super easy content, but one of the things that Bunny has to do is Bunny has to get up close to deal her damage. And Bunny can be a bit squishy, and you can have these awkward moments where you're like, your, like, abilities you just can't use. Valby has literally 0 downtime on all of her abilities. She stacks or pre-stacks damage on the ground so you can kill enemies before they even spawn. She brings utility to boss fights. She's definitely not a bosser, but she brings utility to boss fights and debuffing for electric, which is right now probably, like, the most used element, and she debuffs for fire as well. And she's got survivability. You can go into her 2, which is going to give you 50% damage reduction on top of more defense stacking. You can get pretty tanky, and then you can just go into this form and you can revive teammates in it. You can get around the battlefield to go grab ammo, grab things. She just feels really fluid, and for that reason, I'm going to be putting her in S tier. Probably put her just slightly under Bunny, but she is absolutely an S tier pick. Next up, we've got Glay. Now, Glay is my most played character. It is basically unfair how good Glay is. She not only is the, like, boss melting character that brings so much damage to the table, but she's also very tanky. Glay is a full HP character, no shields, which you'd think, oh, that's going to be tougher to survive on, but you can use mods that, for example, reduce your shields but give you 50% more defense. There's a mod that reduces all the damage that you tank but reduces your mana, which Glay can use because she doesn't have mana. There's so many mods that are just so powerful on her, and she brings a ton of damage to the table. Even if you don't get to use her 4 and a 2 during a boss fight, you've got armor pen, you've got firearm attack, you've got a module that gives you even more damage. Her 3 ability is one of the best abilities in the game, giving you infinite ammo for a short period of time. If you buff up duration on Glay, then you can have, like, genuine, like, 7 seconds of infinite ammo. And with the ammo scarcity in this game on your snipers, on your shotguns, if you buff up your fire rate of your SMG so that you have to reload every second, now you don't have to reload. She melts all of the bosses, and she is the character that I think is just the must-have if you are doing any of the Void Intercept battles. She's not as good as Bunny or Valby for mobbing, but she does have mobbing potential. She's just the best bossing character in the game, in my opinion. And for that, she is our pinnacle S tier character right now. Next up, we've got the Giga Chad Kyle. Now, Kyle was also a bit of a sleeper for me. I didn't realize how good he was, and I don't think a lot of people realize how good he is just because he is the quote-unquote, like, tank. However, he's just really great in not only mobbing missions, but also in boss fights. Now, Kyle does a few things really, really well. One, he's incredibly hard to kill. If you get up close to bosses and you are fighting those bosses and you're using your abilities, one, they're going to have a really hard time killing you. 2, you'll pull aggro away from your entire team. I did a lot of my boss fights playing as Kyle, staying up close to the bosses, and my entire team of all my squishy Glaze and my damage characters could just hyper-focus the boss's weak points without ever having to worry about dying because I'm just being Giga Kyle. Kyle's ultimate is the hardest hitting ability in the game. With some investment, you can get Kyle to hit for 1,000,000 damage with the ult, which is ridiculous. He's one of the best characters, in my opinion, for the Devourer fight because the ult will one-shot a pylon, and then you can just pull out a shotgun and go kill another pylon, so you can carry Devourer with him. His, like, charge abilities give you a bunch of AoE damage. His kit can be a little bit awkward on easy levels. The reason for that is because you need things to do damage to you to charge up your passive, and your passive is proportional to the amount of damage that you take, so fighting against level 6 enemies as Kyle feels kind of pointless because you can't build up your passive and you need your passive to use your abilities and get your damage. So this is a late game character. I don't think he's going to be really important for, like, early levels, but the harder the content, the more he excels. And for that reason, I'm going to put Kyle in A tier. Next up, we've got Blair. Now, Blair was the character that I ended up playing a bunch in the end of last beta, and I really liked him. His kit felt a bit awkward on bossing, and now he's got some modules to give him some really big damage on his 4, and he is placed into that, like, that category of mobbers. I'd put him like in the same kind of category as Descendants, as our Freynas, as our Bunnies, as our Valbies. I just think that of those characters, in my opinion, he's probably the worst of them. He can bring some big damage with his 4 ability to boss fights, but I just don't think I would want to Blair for like bossing particularly, and I wouldn't like prefer to have him for mobbing. So I'm gonna place him in B tier. I think he's good all around, and I cannot wait to like build him more. Full disclosure, I haven't played him this beta, but these are my opinions off of him playing from him last beta. Next up, we've got Leapic. Now, I would comfortably put Leapic in B tier if it wasn't for his modules. Leapic, I think, would be a B tier character last beta. This beta, I think he actually does get to move up to an A because of his modules. Now, modules are the augments, and you can augment your 2 ability, which usually gives you like burn on your abilities, to give you a massive gun damage increase. I haven't like tested it myself, but I've heard it's a 45% gun damage increase when his 2 is active, which makes him a bossing character, and he's got a module that allows you to use your ultimate like infinitely, so you can just like rapid fire shoot your ultimate, which does massive AoE damage, which is also good for mobbing and also good for bossing. So like Leapic as a starting character I think is all right, but Leapic, when you build him up and get these new modules, I think can push up into the A tier pretty comfortably. Next up, we've got Ajax. Now, I'd probably put Ajax in C tier if it weren't for his modules. Ajax modules are actually pretty good. They allow you to scale your damage with your defense, and they allow you to actually get a ton of damage off of the reflect shield. Full disclosure, I haven't played Ajax this beta, but I've heard about Ajax's melting bosses, particularly the earlier ones with some of the reflect damage, scaling defense, scaling the reflect shield, which sounds really, really cool. It seems like Ajax is going to be really like if I was doing one of the hard bosses, having an Ajax on your team is always a good time. You know, like having an Ajax with you is always helpful. It helps you survive, and it helps the squishy characters. It helps you revive. Like an Ajax can pull off a revive with the ultimate, so you can save fights. So I think Ajax is like a very high utility character. So like I could argue A or B. I do think I'm going to put Ajax in B personally, though, just my opinion. And lastly, we've got Jayber. Now, Jayber is an interesting one. I played Jayber quite a bit last beta. I haven't played him this beta, but Jayber just brings a lot to the table. One, you've got 2 turrets. The healing turret aggroes bosses for you, which is fantastic. Healing is extremely limited in this game, so having a Jayber is extremely nice. Glay uses health for her abilities, and having a Jayber on your team is massive, as well as, if you did not know, Jayber's turrets actually like ignore enemies' armor, so the Jayber turrets put in really good damage on the void battles. You need to spec into skill damage and skill crit chance and skill crit damage, but the turrets actually will like do tons of damage to these void boss fights. They're pretty good at just doing like general missions for you. There's just so much that Jayber has going. You've got the damage boost when you've got your turrets out. There's just so much that Jayber has going for him. He's not the best bossing character. He's not the best mobbing character, but his kit as a whole brings everything that you would need to do both content successfully, and is a character that a very well-built Jayber coming into any activity is going to be a massive help to the team. And so for that reason, I'm going to put Jayber in S. I'm not going to rate Ultimate Leapic or Ultimate Viesa. I like accidentally screenshotted it, so I'm not rating those just because I haven't played them. But yeah, guys, that is going to be the tier list video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your opinions. I just like slightly tweaked things around so that the order is correct. So like, for example, I think Ajax is a little bit better than Blair, so I put Ajax there, and then Leapic, Kyle, Freyna, Glay, Bunny, Valby, Jayber, Viesa, Sharon. And yeah, guys, that is my tier list. Let me know your thoughts down below. Once again, these are impressions off of a beta. Once the full game comes out, I'm sure things are going to change around. But these are my impressions of the characters after playing them for quite a bit of hours. And yeah, I hope this video was informative and helpful. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.